You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. It's 70 Mile Toward the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you and have a Let's Play episode of Stardust Kids. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up and let's go. Turned out that my picture suited them. The curator said that his friend editor would like to see me. Despite the fatigue, he's talking enthusiastically, actively gesticulating at the same time. I was in a real photo studio. We talked much, and I was even allowed to make a few pictures of a model. Make a few pictures of a model. That's just for practice, of course. I was given much advice. I'm not sure that I remembered everything. It was so cool. And yeah, my photos will surely be in a magazine. That's cool. You did a great job. I clapped him on the shoulder, and he awkwardly scratched his head. I think Romano was embarrassed by my words, although I didn't try to flatter him at all. Complimented me. Wow. So nice. By the way, you remember swearing at me? And then at school, scolded me for a cigarette. Of course I do. Aren't you gonna keep doing that? No, I'm not. It's harmful and in general last century. I have a better idea. Romano held up his index finger, like asking me to wait, and searched in his bag. A moment later, in his hand, there was... What's that? Ta-da! How cool it is! I turned the strange device in my hand. So, what's that? A vape! I knew it. Not a gram of nicotine, but tons of pleasure. Well, how do you like it, Kurt? He took the vape back and inhaled it. The device sizzled deftly, flashing different colors. Romano breathed out, spreading clouds of steam around. Air got filled with the spicy smell of coconut. Looks suspicious. Oh, come on! It's only a flavor, propylene glycol and glycerin. Wanna inhale? I'll pass, thanks. I've heard about this stuff from Seth and Rome, but I don't know if it's really safe. It doesn't look better than cigarettes. Only the smell is nicer. I shall read about this on the net. Well, never mind. So, how was your day? Nothing special. Although there's something I must tell you about. Sounds interesting. Tell me. I don't think you'll like this. I accidentally found a folder with records on your phone and opened one of them. Yeah. Accidentally found and opened sounds not really plausible. But that's how it was. You visit the psychologist, right? Romano's face didn't twitch. He just keeps smiling. Got me, huh? I didn't think somebody would get in this folder. Yet, when I noticed you with Mr. Jones, you said that you meet only because you're taking pictures for him. Well, that's true. It's just not the whole truth. I didn't want you to worry. Is there a reason? Romano stopped smiling. His eyebrows furrowed and he looked at me a bit stupefied. I mean, you visit him for a reason, right? I felt insecure lately, but I feel better already. Do you? Yeah, everything's fine. He awkwardly scratched his head and smiled. Looks like he has no desire to tell me the details. Question further. But I won't leave him alone so easily. That won't do. What? Your answer won't do. Not accepted. I got into not my business, but I'm not going back. Sorry for that. Tell me what's bothering you. Maybe you'll feel better. I can't say for certain, but that probability definitely exists. Hell yeah, let's get to know this dude better. Are you so curious? Yes. I mean, not really. I don't think that's just curiosity. Right now, I really worry for him. Tell me about the psychologist, huh? Tell you about the psychologist, huh? He looked around like he was afraid that somebody could hear us. Of course we will be heard, but I don't think somebody will stop to get into our conversation. I go to him for some time already, and it bears fruit. It becomes much easier for me to understand my own thoughts. Usually I tell him about what happened over the past week. Sometimes when I'm in the right mood, the melancholic, I speak about something that happened in the past. Something that made me worry much, or something that was usual and boring. Mr. Jones always waits for me to think further and helps me to direct his thought. And he doesn't give ready-made solutions, but helps to get to them. That's amazing. Sometimes I think that it'd be nice to go study psychology. I like to meet new people, learn more, help, inspire, although my heart is already occupied with photography. Do you think my heart is big enough for another hobby? He playfully winked at me. I don't think your heart can contain in itself something but blood, but you personally can cover really giant amounts of interests. Completely different here. You can fly between different topics like a hummingbird, while I can only focus on one thing. But you always get to the very core. He patted me on the shoulder, friendly. Must be a compliment. But I wonderfully know that Romano himself can deeply study the thing he's interested in. Even collecting Pokemons, anyone would be bored, but not he. So, from the outside, you don't look like you need a psychologist. You look so cheerful. That's because I'm really cheerful. Romano blinded me with a snow-white smile. It can be sad and dreary sometimes. Sometimes I feel very bad, but it's not about life. It's about my perception. And apathy attacks me more often lately. About that, what recording did you listen to? He warily looked into my eyes, trying to read into them something only he understands. The latest. Oh, I think it was unpleasant to listen to that all. I wouldn't say it was unpleasant. I rather wasn't prepared for that. Sorry. In my defense, I can say that all these recordings never meant to be listened to by anyone. I think then I was telling him about my old school, about the move. Typical thoughts, torments of a guy that doesn't know where his place is. He laughed awkwardly, hiding his uncertainty. So awkwardly that even I noticed that. Are you thinking about this even now? About if you have a place? Yeah, you're right. It's hard for me to understand you because I've never thought about that. I always had a landmark. I had no need. I've always known where my place is. My life task is to raise my bar higher and higher. I was born in a family of great surgeons, and most likely I'd continue their business. Romano is not constrained by anything. That's great. I always feel like I'm a tumbleweed rolling somewhere on a hunch, not having any idea about where I'll get carried. It always was so, but I felt some support before custody, and I knew that in case of something I could always ask questions and I would surely receive answers. I mean, there is custody of me now, too. Remember the story I told next to the campfire? Italy, appropriately, night walk with father, holiday by the sea. I was 8 back then, and I could say that life was really happy. But in the fall, everything became not so rosy. My father was a police sergeant, and he often went to the capital on business with my mom. Well, I think you understand how it happened. Some reckless driver, high speed, dangerous stretch of highway, 4 cars tumbled. Dad and Mom weren't lucky at all. Or maybe they were. Everything ended fast. They didn't have time to feel pain they didn't have to feel pain for a long time. His face didn't change at all like he got used to tell this tragic story. However, my face surely contorted with an unpleasant surprise. I don't have a single idea how to answer. Should I say anything at all? They didn't take me so I wouldn't miss school, although I really wanted to go with them. Such news made my grandpa fall ill, and only grandpa could come to the funeral. Of course, there were many friends of the family, including Uncle Roy. I could have been sent to the orphanage, but Grandpa and Uncle Roy arranged everything. The Waynes took me in. How does it feel to lose almost a whole family? Romano was just a child back then. How's he getting over it now? I know nothing about it. For me, who came from an ordinary full family that is all like another reality, more cruel and unfair. Even though Roma experienced that, I've never seen him complaining. Are the Waynes friends of the family? Did they adopt you? Why didn't the grandparents take you in? I didn't know that adoption is possible when there's alive and prosperous relatives. They're citizens of the other country. Solving this problem would have taken crazy money, which Granddad, who lost his son and had a sick wife, of course, didn't have. And I wasn't adopted. The Waynes had become my custodians. That's a bit different. After her parents' death, he had to move. All he had to move to, although familiar, but nonetheless, a foster family. What's that sad expression for? In fact, the Waynes are cool guys. Sure, otherwise Dad won't be their friend. Back then, they were raising their own business. It was slowly looking up, so he moved to a wonderful giant apartment not far from the sea at once. Now every morning I can see the beach. Of course, I felt awfully bad, and Grandpa visited me sometimes, and Roy helped pay for the flights. I felt a bit easier later when I made a friend. Was it a friend Romano mentioned in this session? Nathan? Friend. His name was Nathan? Huh. Oh, right. You've heard. Yeah, Nathan. The very guy that betrayed Romano. Romano searched in his pocket, took out the phone, and after doing something with the case, took a piece of paper from underneath it. Second hill, water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's jump back into it, shall we? Romano searched in his pocket, took out the phone, and after doing something with the case, took a piece of paper from under it. It was dense, glossy, so the conclusion is that its photo was undeniable. Romano turned the sheet in his hands, without changing his face, and gave it to me. The photo that is kept in the phone case. Why am I not even surprised? Do you always carry his photo with you? Turns out this guy really meant much for Roma. Of course not. I'm not this sentimental. It just could be lost in the album, and after the session I put it into the case. I forgot to take it out. Usually this picture lies with all the others on my shelf. Huh. I accepted the picture and began looking at it. The photo was ripped in half. There were at least 4 creases with tears like somebody tried but wasn't determined enough to tear it up. 2 maroon coal eyes, cheeky and sullen, shaded with long bangs of whitish-white color. Whitish-white? What the hell is whitish-white? Just say long bangs of whitish color. Were looking at me from the picture. The guy in the photo wasn't older than... There ain't no way in hell that dude is 15 years old. No fucking way. That dude looks at least like he's 18 to 19, maybe 20. He looks strong and self-confident. He's like, I don't know, this is bizarre. Like, so they're saying like some of them are like really, really young, like technically minors, but they don't look like minors. On the ear and temple, there were thin stripes of a scar, most likely received in one day. Like, you could usually tell someone is like I guess like 13 to like 16. These people look like they're adults. It's weird, man. One of his hands was behind the screen and apparently held the Polaroid on which the photo was taken, and the second was hidden behind the ragged edge. On the very edge, on the border of the chair, there were weightless white feathers. Some of what I could see if I looked up on my friend. I heard that he had done a bad thing to you when you needed him more than ever. Why do you still keep this photo? Well, even those who hurt us a lot sometimes remain dear to us against a better judgment. I know what kind of man he is. What he did. I can't justify it anyhow, but I know what that Nate is wonderful. And he was with me when I felt really bad, and it gave me power to get over everything that happened after. He says that he can't justify him, but as a result, that's what he's doing. Do you still communicate? Yeah. If you heard it, then I guess you understand he doesn't want to know me. After that time, I haven't seen and talked to him since. He raised his voice a little. This theme still bothers him. And what if he shows up in your life again? Would you forgive him at once? Hard to say. We were too close for it to pass without a trace. But it can't just return to normal. This requires a serious conversation. That doesn't promise a good outcome at all. It means he wants to return everything? I don't like it. Nathan has already shown himself. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I shall see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!